Okay. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining me live. My name is Melanie Bosch. I have been an educator with Light Elegance for about 5 years now. I have been a nail technician for about 9.5, like almost 10 years. We're close, I could say 10 years. I love Light Elegance. When I first found them, I found out that they were family oriented. Everything was manufactured right here in Oregon, and I fell in love, and there's just no looking back. So one of the reasons I love Light Elegance is because they're responsible. It's really easy to say what's not in your products, but it's a lot harder to say what is in your products. And that's one thing that Light Elegance is very accountable for. I absolutely love it. So today we are talking about my absolute favorite thing. If you guys know me at all, you know that I love the E-File. So today is all about the Zippy. So today I will talk about the Zippy itself, that the E-File that we have, the features of it, why they are important, because you have to know the reasons why. And then I'll go over some of my favorite bits. I'll go over 3 of my favorite bits: the Speedy, the Itty Bitty, and the Buffy. And I will demo on my real fingers so that you can see exactly what to do. We'll talk about the angles. We'll talk about what speeds each bit needs to be at and the pressure applied and how to use the E-File. So if you guys are ready, let's get started. I'm going to have a very awkward transition. So I'm turning the camera off just so that I can do that off camera. You don't have to see my face all weird and everything. Give me just 1 second to get set up here. All right, now I just got to find the button to flip my camera. I think I have to start my video. It's going to be on the ceiling. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay. Awkward start, but we got it. All right, so today is all about the E-File. I'm going to try to keep you guys in frame. Please, somebody yell at me if I get out of frame, okay?
That's my job. I got you, boo.
Thank you. All right. So a little bit about the Zippy. We're going to be talking about the actual E-File first, and then we'll get into the bits. So one of the things that we want to watch when we're shopping for an E-File, the reason that I personally have several of these, because I got to have a backup and then a backup for my backup, just in case. One of the things you'll notice when you first pick up the E-File, the handle is actually weighted and it's very, very balanced. When you're holding your E-File, you want to remember to hold it right here at the handle and hold it just like you would a pencil, just like this. If you hold your pencil like this, great, that's fine, but you want to have full control and hold just like a pencil. This handpiece is actually very, very, very low vibrations, which is actually something that I personally love because I already do have some issues with my wrist. Some of the lower end E-Files, they do have a lot of vibration coming from the handpiece, and that can definitely irritate all of the soft tissue. We can get damaged. We have 3 32nds of an inch standard chuck and the locking chuck. You just twist the handle and it actually has these little arrows. So you can see when it is open and when it's closed. It's very, very convenient. We do have a digital display. We have the on-off switch. We have forward and reverse. We actually have neutral right in here. This is the neutral position. If we flip it down, that is reverse, up into neutral, up into forward. It's very, very nice. You know exactly which direction your E-File is going. Now, when we go to insert a bit, I have this Speedy right here. You can always get in the habit of holding your E-File parallel to the table, not straight up, because if you do it straight up, chances of dust getting inside are very, very high. So you want to reduce that and hold it nice and flat. Push the bit all the way in and then pull it out just that little bit. So all the way in, pull it out just that little bit. Then you can lock the chuck and then we can turn the E-File on. Now, can you guys hear the click of the on and off? That's how you know it's actually on or off. And it does have the digital display so that you can see. Oh, that does not sound good. Let me get my other file. You can see exactly where the speed is. Give me 1 second because this is my backup one. My original one is a little dirty. Oh, we're having all kinds of technical issues today. I'm so sorry, you guys.
It's Murphy's Law.
Of
It
course.
also makes you more human because humans
Yeah.
make mistakes. While she's doing that, I'll help. How's that? I'll fill the dead space. Um, that part Mel just talked about balance in your handpiece. I have experienced using a handpiece that is much lighter weight. And here's the odd thing you wouldn't expect. Too light of a handpiece, you don't have enough gravitational pull because we don't press down on the bit when we're working. We let the handpiece do the work. So you can actually buy a handpiece that's too light because it doesn't give you enough downward force. And then, of course, any hand pieces that are too heavy could cause issues in your wrist area. I know this very well. My first e-file back in the 90s wasn't even an e-file, it was a woodworking tool. And the handpiece I had a cord that connected it to the unit that was hanging from a big stick on my table. And that rubber cord really prevented free movement of my handpiece, and I developed wrist issues really quick. So once I discovered a real e-file balanced for our hands, I did so much better. How you doing, Mel? Am I killing enough time for you?
Yep, we got it. Sorry,
Okay.
guys.
If
That's
you're
one of
ready,
the things
I'm gonna
that I
shut
was
up.
like, oh, didn't check that before I started camera. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
It's okay.
But yeah, like Elaine said, the wrist is very, very important, the vibrations and the weighted balance of it. All right, so here we've got much better sounding e-file. We can see exactly the digital display that we're on, so we know exactly where we are with our speed. This does go up to 35,000 RPMs, but please do not use your e-file at 35,000 RPMs. It should honestly never have to go above 20,000 RPMs. Can you hear it, how quiet it is? One that's actually working properly, not the other one. This one is so quiet. You can barely hear it at all. It feels absolutely comfortable. It feels so wonderful. And then you'll have noticed too, it is completely cordless. It's very, very nice. It does have a very long battery. I can use this on my clients all week long and then charge it at the end of the week. When you do get it first brand new, you do have to give it a full 8-hour charge. The charging port is just right here. There's a cord specifically for the Zippy. Just give it a full 8-hour charge before the first use. The battery life, it lasts about up to 20 hours or so. And when you turn it on, you'll notice this light is green. When the battery starts to die and it starts to go about 20% is when the light will turn red. That's how you'll know you need to charge your e-file. Now, there are a couple error codes that you could get sometimes on the display right here. If you get the error code E3, that honestly just means your battery's dead and you need to charge the e-file. However, the code E4, that just means there's too much resistance in the chuck, and chances are it needs to get a good clean. So that is when you call Light Elegance and they will service your e-file for you. And something just fell. That's cool. This is life today. I'm sorry, guys. It's a little chaotic. Do we have any questions on the e-file? Please put them in the comments and we will address them. I think I've covered everything about the file. Okay, so let's transition and talk about our bits. So today I'm talking about the Zippy, the Speedy bit. See if I can zoom in a little bit for you. We're going to talk about the Itty Bitty and the Buffy. Now, these are my favorite bits because this one does the bulk removal when doing a fill, removing old product. And these two, the Itty Bitty and the Buffy, are for basically dry manicure, like cleaning up the dead cuticle tissue and exfoliating everything off. The Speedy bit, you can see this is a carbide bit. This is for product removal. This one is an aggressive bit. You never want to use any carbide bit on the natural nail. It will absolutely destroy that natural nail plate so fast. This is a one-directional bit. For left-handers, we do have a lefty-loo carbide for removal, but I'm not going to be demoing that one today. So this one, you should use this approximately 12 to 15,000 RPMs. And if you're using it at 15,000 and you find that you have to press harder to try to get the product to remove, you actually need to just turn your speed up. You should never have to press harder into the nail. So this one, I'm going to do a quick demo and just kind of get everything out of the way on the Speedy, and then we'll talk more in depth on these two. And just roll those out the way. I have our wonderful client, Linda, for you today. She listens real good. Now, Linda, she has a grown out manicure over here with some hard gel, Alexiline, and the new buttercream, the Petty Party. So she wants to get this removed, so we need to get this removed. The one, remember, you hold your E-File just like a pencil. I always have my pinky out, anchoring onto my other fingers so that I'm nice and steady. And when we first go for removal, we want to start nice and parallel, flat. We don't want to be angled up like this. We want to be angled nice and flat. And the way that I remember is just keep the center of the bit with the center of the nail plate. Left side with left side, right side with right side. It's actually very simple, and just rotate along with the curvature of the nail. Let me see if she will bend a little bit for you so you can see. Center and center will be very flat. The left and the left, you'll angle up just a little bit more to angle with that side. And as you're rolling down, you angle to match the right side with the right side. Okay, I will demo for you. I apologize. We all know how it sounds on the mannequin hand. She does not sound super lovely, so I apologize. But so we go nice and slow. I'm at 15,000 RPMs. And remember, it's a very, oh, wow. Okay, good thing I have a backup now.
I've done that so many times.
I can't. The universe is just against me today.
Oh, it's okay, you're human.
Oh, I'm secretly just holding this one on.
Damn you, Linda.
Remember, it's just a light touch and you just glide down. And when you start to see that removal, the color disappearing, you want to see that nice, even stroke color, right? If you see something more on the lines of kind of like these little holes kind of looking like a Swiss cheese, that means that your pressure is inconsistent. This is a no-no. This can actually, if you get too deep in some areas, you could be closer to the natural nail. This is definitely what we want to avoid. We want to have a nice, even removal line. And see, I'm turning Linda over to her right a little bit so that I can still have that perfect bird's eye view and keep my head straight. I don't want to be angling myself all crazy. Keep that good posture. And just pull down, everything nice and even. Now, when it comes to shortening the length, I will absolutely change angles so that I am pointing up and down. I will pinch her sidewalls right here between my thumb and my middle finger so that I will brace her so she doesn't have to have the pressure of me removing the length and pulling across. And it's just a very slow make contact and pull across. Just like that. And you can go as short as you want, as however long your client wants. And we'll just remove. Now, when it comes to this top bit around the cuticle, you want to change angles. And I'm going to come back here just like I'm going to write down something. And I pull her over just that little bit. So she's angled so that I can be comfortable. I always move my client so I can be comfortable. And it's very short, round strokes around the cuticle using the tip of that bit. You see, it's just short. I only go in one direction, pick up, come back. It's very light pressure. We can come in here just a little bit closer. Now, we have just a little tiny little bit of color left, and honestly, I don't worry about that with using the Speedy to try to get right there. Can anybody tell me why? Got to get my pointer tool for you. The reason I don't worry about this tiny little line of color with my Speedy is because the chances of me slipping just a little bit and hitting her natural nail, the chance for me is way too high and I don't want to risk it. So how do I remove that? We can use a hand file, or we can actually come in with the Cutie Patootie. This is the diamond grit, diamond bit. We can come in and just remove that if you want to. I choose to do a hand file. Okay, so there, one quick tip. When you are ready to remove and change your bit, it's going to be very, very dusty. We do not want to just unlock, remove the bit, put in the next one because the chances of dust getting in there is way too high. So we just take our duster brush, gently dust all of that off. Notice I'm holding it nice and parallel to the floor, nice and flat. It's not up, it's not down, just parallel. Wipe all that dust off. Then you can come in, pull that bit out. Now, I do store my Zippy with that chuck open, and then just gently in the handpiece cradle right there. Okay, do we have any questions so far? I can answer before we move on to the Itty Bitty and the Buffy.
I don't have anything in the chat.
Okay, and we shall move on. Sorry, guys. Thanks for bearing with me. I don't know what's happening today. I'm just trading gloves so that I'm going to demo these two bits on my own fingers so that you guys can see exactly what it looks like, because it's hard to tell on the mannequin hand, like where the sidewall is, the cuticle tissue, and things like that. So Linda was a good client for us, and she can sit over there now. Okay, so let's talk about these two bits. So the Itty Bitty is this one. This is our tiniest little bit. This is a diamond bit, which means it has the diamond burrs on there. It can be used on the natural nail plate and the skin because of its shape. However, the Buffy, this one is also that diamond bit. This bit can only be used on the skin. It cannot be used on the nail plate. Does anybody know why? This is your hint right here. So if you were to use this on your natural nail plate, there's really only just that one point of contact, and that can actually cause those rings of fire, digging too deep into the natural nail in one point. Whereas the Itty Bitty has multiple points and it's a lot less likely to create rings of fire. Okay, so our Itty Bitty, this one should be used approximately 6,000 to 8,000 RPMs. You could go up to 10, but I like to stay around 8. This is for cleaning up all of that dead cuticle tissue, exfoliating everything, and cleaning up that natural nail plate. Now, one thing I always tell everybody, when you're using this bit, you want to pull it, which means when you make contact, you pull down. You never, ever push the bit. Does that make sense? We never, ever, ever push, because that's how we can see the red stuff that's flowing in our veins. We never want to do that. We always make contact and pull. Make contact, pull. Never, ever push that bit, okay? Make contact, pull. Make contact, pull. Okay, let's demo. So I've got this nail, I've got the bulk of the product removed, and we are ready for our dry mani. So I'm going to put it about 8,000 RPMs. So right now I am in forward. This bit can be used forward and reverse because it's a diamond bit. It can go both directions. Whereas the carbide bit that has the flutes cut out into it, it can only work in one direction. So the diamond bit, when I'm in forward, I want to be working on the left side of my nail right here. And like I showed just a second ago, our angle wants to be very parallel. We're not going to come in like this. We're going to come in nice and flat. And it's, again, gentle pressure. Holding my E-file just like a pencil. It's very gentle pressure. Come in and gently touch, lift up. Touch, lift up. Come down and just gently pull. See, I'm keeping straight with the sidewall. I'm not angling like this. I'm not angling out. Nice and straight. So I can exfoliate all of that dead tissue. And I have a lot of dead tissue for you guys. Okay. And it's one direction. I don't sit here and just rub back and forth on the nail. That can cause a little bit more damage. But it's very gentle pressure. And take your duster brush, clean everything up. You want to keep everything nice and clean because you don't want to be sitting here trying to chase this little white stuff and thinking that's cuticle. But when you dust it off, you realize it was just dust. So keep everything nice and clean. Very gentle. Is that making sense to everyone? And then this bit is great for coming in and removing this callus that we all get right here on the corner. Okay, so let's see another nail. So coming in, and we're going to pull the bit. We never push. We always just pull. It's a very, very gentle pressure. Everything is light-handed, very, very light-handed. We've got to dust it off, make sure we're not chasing dust. We're actually chasing dead tissue, not just dust. And you always want to communicate with your client. Say, hey, if if you're in any pain, please let me know. Is this feeling okay? They will tell you if it's something is getting a little tender or a little bit hurt. Okay, so when we go to change direction, my E-file, I'm going to turn it all the way off. Did you hear the click? And then neutral down into reverse and then turn it back on. We never want to just flip it and change directions like that because that puts way too much pressure on our little engine, our little motor inside the handpiece. We want to turn it all the way off, flip directions, and then back on. Okay, so I'm getting back up to about 8,000 RPMs. I'm going to go on the right side of the nail because now the bit is spinning the complete other direction. And what this does is it helps to open up that skin. If I were to come over here, you can see it's going to kind of try to pull that skin closed. That's not what I want. That's why we have two directions for doing the two sides of the natural nail. And that's the exact same thing. Gently, see how I come in and I push up? Just a little tiny bit of pressure. And gently just pull down, lift up, pull down, pull down, pull down. Get that little callus that we all get right here in the corner. We're a little dusty, can't see anything. Make sure we dust it off, keep it clean. Very gentle pressure, keep it parallel, not angled up like this. Nice and parallel. Now remember, we can always come back in and gently kind of lift up. And right here, I'm just hovering over the nail plate. You know, it looks like I'm angled very up, but I'm not going to touch that nail plate. I just want to touch that skin, and it just lifts up all of that cuticle tissue a little bit higher. And come down, make sure everything's nice and exfoliated, get all that dead tissue off. And this is all with the itty bitty. Gently make contact with the nail and gently push up. You guys hear when I'm on the natural nail? This is so satisfying for me.
Zoom is so surprisingly quiet.
Is it really?
Yeah, you barely can hear the E-file.
Oh, well, I mean, I can barely hear it anyways. It is a
I know,
very
it's
quiet
so quiet.
E-file.
It's so quiet.
Okay. Like I said, do not just sit and hover back and forth. We always one direction, pull down, pull down. And I come in here and gently just give an extra little lift to this cuticle and just lift it up just a little bit higher. Try not to hit that natural nail. This is like a float. We're floating on the natural nail right there. Okay, so that's what we do with the itty bitty. Very gentle, very soft pressure. We're not trying to add any pressure at all. Okay, so that will wrap it up for the itty bitty. Does anybody have any questions for that bit? Please drop them in the comments. Okay, now let's move on to the Buffy. The Buffy is also the medium grit diamond bit. Me and my friend Taryn, we nicknamed this one Buffy the Cuticle Slayer, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I mean, it's so perfect. It's just right there. We have to. This one is meant to just gently exfoliate off all of that dead tissue, not on a natural nail. This one is skin only. This one's really good too. If you do have a little bit of a thicker callus on the corners, you can absolutely get those calluses off with this bit. Okay, so this bit should be used approximately a little bit less, about the same, about 6 to 10,000 RPMs. I do like to run this bit in forward, but remember it is a diamond bit, so you can absolutely run this bit in forwards and reverse. So this bit, I'm just going to change my angle just a little bit. This one is meant to remove that line of cuticle that we just created with the itty bitty. And when you're working with this bit, let me grab my tool for you. Where you're aiming is to aim right at the widest part. Trying to get it in camera for you. Aim right at the widest part. That is your working zone. When you're trying to get online of that cuticle, you're trying to hit it with the widest part of that bit. Now with this bit running, you'll see that it does start to, I'm trying to get in camera for you. And you want to basically just kind of chase that skin around, and it kind of has like almost like a shearing motion, and it just removes all of that dead tissue. You want to come at it at a right angle to that cuticle line. That's why I had to adjust my angles. Come down here, exfoliate. Now this bit can create some heat, so you do want to keep it moving around. We can move on to the next one. I have this wonderful callus for you guys I can remove. I've seen almost every client, we do have some form of a callus right there. We all get it. Then we can gently come on top. And like I said, I personally like to use this bit just in the forward direction. You can absolutely use it in forward and reverse. But just keep this bit moving. Even if you stumble across a really stubborn piece of cuticle that will just not remove, just come back to it. Work it a little bit, go to a different area, come back to it. Don't sit and just try to hover and just remove it, because that will just create a lot of heat for your client and a lot of pain. And get that callus right there. Okay. Our E-File down, dust it off. And then we would take, the next step would be to take our cleanser and cleanse that natural nail. And one trick too is I actually take my actual nail and kind of guide it around the proximal nail fold and down those sidewalls to make sure all of that dust is really out of there. Okay, that is all I have for you guys. If you do want to purchase anything on lightelegance.com, remember you have a code you can use. My code is Melanie15. It is on my Instagram as well, and you guys get 20% off lightelegance.com. Okay, let's get into questions. What questions do we have?
Sometimes it takes them a second to warm up
Yeah.
and give questions. So all you have to do is unmute yourself and ask a question. If you're too shy, put it in the chat. I'll ask it for you. It's okay.
Well, don't
Some,
be afraid to ask me questions.
Are
some
there any other bits that you would recommend? And if so, for which situations?
Yes, the next bit that I would recommend is the cutie patootie. This one is great for, like I said, removing that one line of color that's left behind, like around this area in the new growth area. This one does have the diamond burrs all up on the side and on the very top as well. So you can use this one to remove that color and start exfoliating around that cuticle. And this one, again, this is the diamond bit. So it means it can go on the natural nail plus the skin. So if you were, you can come down here and exfoliate as well. So that would be my next favorite recommendation.
So I'm seeing all kinds of different bits, and it just seems excessive. So can you explain that?
Yeah, what bits do you mean? Like what specifically?
Like different shapes, like tornado or like flame, just different shapes.
Okay, yes, let me explain that. Elaine, don't be mad at me. I have one of those bits and I'm a visual person, so let me grab it. I'll show you. Uh,
While she grabs it, I will preface this with there are an excessive amount of bits, and a lot of them do the exact same thing. So, my joke I always tell everybody is it's personal preference, like what favorite leggings do you wear, Once you figure out what bits become your favorite, you end up narrowing it down to what, Mel? Like four, five max?
hmm
I constantly use and I use nothing else. Go ahead,
Okay.
girl.
All right, thank you. So just here's some reasoning why. And like Elaine said, it really does come down to personal preference. I personally prefer something with a straight side. I don't really like using something like this because it does have a curve to it. And honestly, the only reason why is it reduces the contact point on the natural nail. So you're having to do more and more work, more strokes down that natural nail. You only have this tiny area of contact versus something with a straight side. Trying to get it in frame here. You have a larger contact area, so you can do it in less strokes down the nail, less time. I hope that answers the question.
It does. Thank you so much.
Okay, yes, you're welcome. Any other questions? What do we got?
Leah, as you start to try new bits, just like try a few. But I
Yeah.
agree. I'm the same as Mel. I like a flat, straight side to my bit.
hmm And
Just
it's personal preference too. And it like this is one of my other favorite bits that I use, and it's a straight-sided barrel versus the tapered barrel. And it's personal preference, what you like to use versus,
Mel, maybe
even
you
this
could
one.
talk about the safety heads while we're waiting for another comment,
Oh,
especially for the
yes.
beginners out there, the tops.
Yeah, I know a lot of times, I know beginners don't know what questions to ask, but I mean, literally, there's no stupid question. So please feel free to ask it. With this one does have a safety top just right in here. And what that means is this will actually not cause damage if you were to hit the skin right here, for example, right? Or if you were getting a little bit close right up here. There are some bits, I know there's some kind of in this shape that don't have a safety top. This one definitely has a safety top. This one does appear to as well. So there's different bits out there. They do have a safety top. I am always one for to having a bit with a safety on the top because just in case. There has been times when I have, gotten right here next to a client and there's that little bit of dust that gets removed. I know that that means I was against their skin. So I always opt for the safety top so that I have less chance of damaging my client.
They have those, I'm gonna hold it up to my camera, but you're not gonna see it super great. It's just an old one I had in my box. Some of
hmm
them are flat entirely on the top.
Yeah.
And that edge, whoo, back in
It,
the day before we had safety tops, that edge, man, you caught a client's skin and that makes boo-boos.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't even own one of those bits. Don't
No,
even have one.
mine's
can't
saying
do it.
who wants them anymore? They actually
Nope.
do make the flat tops now with very minor etches to the edge that makes it a safety top. So it doesn't, yeah, there you go. It's not always
This is our
round.
lefty Lou.
Yep, lefty Lou's got it.
Yep, right there.
Yep. Don't be shy if you have a question. This is your opportunity, and ask
Yep.
anything.
Yep.
She's an
This is going to
expert.
be one of the most
For
important investments you'll ever make. Please, please, please ask me all the questions.
for the flame bits,
Mhm.
when do you recommend using those?
The flame bits, I have one right here. I'll talk about it. These, honestly, the only difference between these two bits is the shape. See, they are both a blue band. That means that they are both a medium grit. And honestly, it's just a shape. And choosing which bit to use when just depends on your client's cuticles plus what you are comfortable with. This bit, the flame bit, is actually very sharp. So this is more of an advanced bit, whereas this one does actually have a more flat um, tip to it. So this one is less likely to cause your clients to bleed. This one absolutely can. It's just a different angle at which you're going to use everything. Let me kind of get these out and I'll show you. So this, the flame bit, you'll have to come in at a steeper angle. See the angles coming in? And it's very, very advanced. I recommend taking a class if you want to use a flame bit. Whereas this one is very beginner friendly and you just hold nice and parallel. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yep, you're welcome.
You've totally turned me on to Itty Bitty.
I love Itty Bitty. It's honestly like the perfect bit.
I've
The
never
flame,
watched you use it to hear you talk about the pulling. And
mhm.
every time I go to use it, I treat it like my cutie patootie, and I'm so doing it wrong as a nail tech who's been doing nails for 30 years.
No. To be
You
honest
taught me
with you,
something.
I've taken a lot, like very several of these dry manicure, Russian manicure cuticle classes. And all it really is, it's just learning how to clean up the cuticle. And that was one of the number one things that I see people doing is coming in with their bit like this and pushing. And the
Mm-hmm.
example that I was given in one of my classes is if you think about it like this and you want to have your skin loosey goosey, like do not pull that skin tight. Okay. We want to have nice loose skin when we're working on the sidewall. Do not pull it tight because that's the equivalent of like pulling your palm tight and running a knife across it, right? You have a higher chance of cutting versus a loosey goosey palm. The live living tissue will just move out of the way versus same thing, tight or not. If you push that bit, chances are you'll get stuck on something and right there, bleeding. So always pull. That's one of the biggest things I always tell everybody, just pull the bit down. Loosey goosey skin, do not pull it tight. The only time you can pull that skin tight out of the way is when you're dusting. That's it. When you're using the bit, it should be, your finger should be off and back and loosey goosey skin. Keep that skin loose because the living skin will move out of the way.
Mm. Good advice.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question about ceramic versus carbide.
Okay.
Just when do you ever recommend using ceramic?
To be honest, no. I found carbide early on in my years, and I have never even actually used them. I don't see the point when I've heard that they can deteriorate faster, like they get dull faster. So I heard that early on in my career. I went straight to carbide and just never went back. I mean, again, it comes down to more of a personal preference, whatever you like. I mean, a carbide will get the job done, a ceramic will get the job done. It's just becomes down to personal preference and what bit will last longer.
You also want to check with your state law on ceramic, because if you think about it, if you've ever broke a mug, ceramics are porous inside, there's holes. And if you start to wear the ceramic down, you can get to a point where you have those little holes and they don't disinfect correctly.
Oh,
And
goodness.
yeah, with carbides, it's metal, your metal implements. And so there's no question as far as being able to properly sanitize and disinfect. That to me is information I learned when ceramics first came out. I don't know if they've improved it all ever since then, but because of that information and knowing not all state boards are happy with them, I don't even own one. I couldn't even show you one.
Yeah, I don't have one either. And honestly, that's really good information, Elaine. I didn't even realize that. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, ceramic is porous.
Quick, quick comment from me too on ceramics. Hello,
Mhm.
everyone.
Hello.
Melanie, great job. That was an awesome webinar. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank
I
you. Thank
have
you for
used,
ignoring my little bits of like
hey,
craziness.
no, hey, life happens. Showing your
Yeah.
human side. Um, but with the ceramic bits, I've noticed myself, and then also for new people, ceramic tends to jump a lot.
Ooh.
It doesn't stay nice on the nail. It does do a lot of jumping and can like really whip around the finger very fast and cut it very fast. So that's another thing about ceramic.
Mhm.
They're definitely not my favorites. I've used them, I have them, but they're not my favorites at all.
Jackie, I'm curious, since you've purchased some, are they comparable cost-wise, or is there do people use them because they're less expensive? Like what?
No, they're about comparable cost wise. And like I said, I haven't really purchased them. Luckily, I've we were
Yeah.
selling them a few times and it's like, here, try these out. Here, try these out. And I'm like, yeah, no, we might not want to bring a lot of those in because they're not that great. But cost wise, they're about the same. They do have like safety bits and everything too, but I've found with all the different ones, and I've got all the way from little ones that would be almost like the itty bitty all the way up to like your barrels, and all of them, they jump and they kind of gouge.
Mhm. Well, on that note of jumping, that made me think about something. I'm going to show you exactly what I do to prevent jumping because it can happen even when using a carbide bit. Either it's Speedy or some other bit, it can happen. So let me show you really quick. Now, when you're looking at a natural nail and I say the point of growth down that lateral sidewall, I am meaning this position right in here, okay? So imagine this to be on the mannequin right about this area. So when you're coming down here, you can file this edge at this direction, and this bit is still rotating this way. So it's going to pull down. But if you want to come and get this, the right sidewall right here, some people go all the way down. And I've noticed if you get too close to the free edge right in this area, it can catch and go whoop, around the world. And we've all done it. So a good rule of thumb is to never bring your bit lower than that point of growth. So always, if you're coming in this angle to come up that right sidewall and around that cuticle, never go lower than the point of growth, right in that area. Just stay right here. That way you reduce your risk of coming down too far and sliding and jumping around. So always just come right here to get that right sidewall and then angle around up. Does that make sense? That's one lesson I've learned the hard way one or too many times.
Oh my God, it scares you to death, and then it
Oh,
scares
yeah.
the client.
Yep, absolutely.
Carbides tend to bite anyways, and a lot of times too, newbies won't realize if they're using a carbide for the first time that the speed can be
Mhm.
too low, and you can get that bounce and that bite too, and it's scary.
It is. It can be very, very scary.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have a question for her?
Yes, I just have one. I know it says Dennis. That's my husband's name. It's on what's on the computer.
Okay, I'm James.
Oh, I'm Catherine. Yeah, I noticed that you're James today. Now, my name's Catherine. So, how do you determine when it's time to replace the bit? Because I just kept using my bit and it just got more and more difficult and started building up heat. And finally, I'm like, well, maybe I need a new bit. And I was probably, I don't know, a year past I should have replaced it. So, exactly where is your benchmark of when you replace the bits?
Okay, well, let me tell you, I have a new bit. I'll give you an example. Um, Honestly, it depends on how much you are working. And I don't know how much this is going to show on camera, but I have these two bits. This one I have used a lot, and this one is brand new out of the package. So you'll start to notice when you need to replace your bits when they're not removing as fast as you want them to. If you notice that you're just going on the nail and it's just staying and staying and it's not removing the color and it's just not doing what you know it's capable of doing, it's probably dull. That's when it's time to replace your bits. And it can be, honestly, in a carbide bit, it can be anywhere up to 6 months, to be honest with you. Um, but you'll kind of start to notice, see the flutes in these bits, they are the same grit, but one of
You
them
can
looks super
totally
sharp.
see it. Oh my God, I see it.
Yep,
You can see
that's
it in
how
the
you know.
reflection. See all the little dots on the left side of the sharp one? That's the actual points of the carbide still there.
Mm-hmm. See, these are cut into flutes, and you'll start to notice it's just not removing like it's supposed to. So that would be a time to order a new bit. I usually order bits I order 3 or 4 at a time so that I can pull these up right next to each other and be like, okay, well, this one, time to go. It's time to go bye-bye because it's just not removing like it's supposed to. And then the same thing with the diamond bits. You can hold it up and compare it to a brand new one, and you'll notice it's just, if it's really, really dull, if you're just going on and on and on the nail plate and it's just not removing like it's supposed to, you know that it's capable of more. It's time to replace it.
The diamonds are more forgiving. If you buy like a coarse diamond and it starts to dull, you could mark it with a little gel polish color and start calling it medium and
Yeah.
switch to a brand new course. I don't find the carbides are as quite forgiving. Like it
No, they're
starts to
not.
dull, I just want a new one.
Yep, exactly. On the carbides, I just want a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, a carbide bit will typically, it can last you several months, whereas a diamond bit with everyday use, it will last you closer to about 3 months, 3 or 4, depending on how much you're working and using it.
Mhm.
Okay, do we have any other questions, anybody?
I think you did a good job covering everything.
Oh, thank you. I try, but there's always something that I forget.
I think it's great. I think you did great. If we don't have any more questions, we could go into a closer.
Okay.
Do you want me to do it for you?
Yes, please. Thank you. I thought that was the plan. I was like, oh yeah, go right
Because your
ahead.
brain goes for okay. Well, if you want more education, please go to lightelegance.com. We have our LEU University, our Light Elegance University, which we've just actually released our new 2.0. There's so much more on it. You also can join our hashtag new2LE, which is our Facebook group. You sign up, you get approved, you join the group, and there's a whole community of people there to answer questions, as well as all the education team. And they're all marked with their educator information. Next week is, oh gosh, I should know this. I think it's Ashley, right?
It's Ashley. Yeah, I have that part written down. She's doing intricate nail art basics.
There you go. And yeah, of course, if you want to buy anything at lightelegance.com, as long as you're in a country that you don't have a distributor, we ship. So you can go to lightelegance.com and use Melanie 20 for that 20% off. If you're not in the United States or you're in a country that has a distributor, you can go to our website and you can actually find a local distributor in your area, and that way you can purchase there as well. Think I've got everything. Did I miss anything myself?
Oh, that sounded beautiful to me.
I think other than thanking everybody for tuning in, we really appreciate you took the time to join us today. Oh, I will say this. It'll be in the recording anyways, but everybody should always know this. If you sign up and you can't come to the live, within the next 24 to 48 hours in your email, you will get this recording. And then in 2 weeks, you can watch it again on YouTube. That's it.
Thank
Okay,
you so
sounds
much. That
awesome.
was so awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Good. Thanks, you
Thanks,
guys. I
Melanie, and
appreciate
thank you
you.
all. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.